Hi everyone, it's Sam and I'm back with another video for lawnfawn. Today I'm creating a card using the new Rainbow Sentiments, the old Berry Rainy Day, Silly Goose, and then Silly Goose Rain or Shine, stitched hillside border dies, and of course the Over the Rainbow die set. I am coloring all of my images the same way I love to color my images, mostly. I'm using Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. I'm starting by using light gray and vanilla to color in the geese. Thank you. It's just a subtle little nod to color. It's like a whisper of color on these geese. And I like how it blends the cool tones of the gray with like the warmer tones of the vanilla. So it kind of gives like a dynamic look to the geese. And of course I'm not coloring these realistically because I like, whimsy. So I went whimsy this time. Next I am going to be using pale orange and light carmine to add some pink cheeks to all these little geese who are going to be playing in the rain and splashing in the puddles. Then I'm going to move on to color their beaks. I'm going to be using orange and bright yellow. Bright yellow, and just their legs too, but like it's barely any color. You can tell it when I color it, but I'm not even moving my markers. I'm just kind of dabbing it on the paper, and it just adds the perfect amount of contrast for their feet and beaks. Then I'm going to color their rain jackets and boots with mustard, lemon yellow, and yellow. And I'm using mustard as my darkest shade to add some extra contrast. And I am pulling that out with the medium color, which is yellow, and then using the lightest color, light yellow, to pull it all out. Then if there's room, because some of the images are small, I'm using a very slightly, barely damp water brush to blend it all together. And this is how I'm going to color all of the rain boots and all of the jackets. I also am using this yellow for the umbrellas, as well as the same oranges and pinks for the umbrellas that I've already used. I stamped some extra boots because I wanted to make a goose that was in the Silly Goose set who didn't have rain gear on, also have a set of boots on, but I ended up not using him on the card, but I'm going to save him and use him next time. I'm using blue, turquoise green, and light blue to color the raindrops. This is my favorite color combination for water because it's like adds the perfect amount of dark. It's just, this blue is very saturated, very prone to, it's like red. A little bit goes a long way. So I'm just adding a little tiny bit of the blue, pulling it out with the turquoise, and then adding the light blue at the final touches. And I love the contrast from the darkest to the lightest, and I just think it's like a fun way to color some rain. I'm going to be using fog gray for just the umbrella stems, and then now we're going to color the rainbow, the umbrella, and I'm using mocha brown, carmine red, and scarlet red for the red portions. I'm going to be using pink and pale orange for the pink areas. Then I am going to be using the same oranges as mentioned previously that I used for their beaks, and the same yellows that I used for the raincoats. And then the last one is going to be a lot of the same colors: turquoise green, light blue, and then mint, or pale green, which makes it like a mint color. Then I'm just using the same pinks that I used on the umbrellas for the handles, and I'm going to use the same pink combination, pink flamingo and vanilla actually, for underneath the rainbows. I keep calling them rainbows, for underneath the umbrellas. I'm so sorry. And then I'm going to be using the same pink combinations that I used for the pink of the umbrella on this last little closed umbrella. And that's the images. Next, look at this. I have a cloudy stencil from lawnfawn now. I don't have to make my own, which totally you can make your own. But when I say this stencil is a game changer, I am not exaggerating. First of all, it has grid lines on it, so you can easily line it up with your paper to make sure your clouds are going to be stenciled on straight and not like crooked. And it has so many different options and available ways to make the clouds look. I mean, it's like I said, I used my makeshift cloud stencils on previous videos multiple times. This was a good game changer. Okay, so what I did was I'll get back to that. We're going to do more of that exact stenciling, but now I'm using mowed lawn and pine needles on some cilantro cardstock to add just a little bit of ink blending on the grass that's going to go on the base of the card. Okay, this is the piece that we had just stenciled before the grass. I'm lining up this cutout from the Over the Rainbow die so that the two tiny pokes are sticking out at the top and the rest of the die is flush with the top of the card. I'm also die cutting out the well, it looks like a bookmark to me, but this pull tab part from the Over the Rainbow die, and I'm going to use the same colors and the same technique I used for the card front. I'm using black soot distress oxide ink and lost shadow. And the really cool thing with this stencil, which I'm in love with, is that there's so many different options. You can make the clouds look so different from every layer. And I just think that's so fun, and it adds such a unique look to cloudy backgrounds. I'm also die cutting out the actual rainbow part of the Over the Rainbow die, and I'm using the same Distress Oxide inks in the same colors, same stencil. The cardstock I'm using is fog cardstock. It's not actually white, it's fog. And ink blending on colored cardstock with the cilantro for the grass and fog for this the rest of the card, it made the ink blending so fast. I almost didn't have to speed that part up because it was so fast. And so game changing for sure. Next, I'm using these little whimsical raindrop moments. I'm stamping them in a mixture of Distressed Oxides, Blueprint Sketch, and Peacock Feathers, just with a little bit of the darker Blueprint Sketch at the top and Peacock Feathers at the bottom. I'm just mixing up how it looks, so it looks like random droplets. And I'm also going to be adding some details with a white gel pen to those drops as well to make it kind of look whimsical and shine. And I'm also, of course, adding it to the rainbow part, so because the rain is falling here as well. Now we're going to put together the card, and I'm just starting by kind of training the paper on how to become a rainbow. It's going to rainbow school, and I'm just teaching it to curve, and we're gonna create it now. So I'm using some 1/8 inch tape, double-sided tape, attaching it to the bottom back of our rainbow die cut. And once you remove the release paper, first try for some of you, not for me, you attach it to the bottom front of the pull tab that we ink blended. Then you take the same 1/8 inch tape, attach it to the front tabs of your rainbow die cut piece, and attach that to the top back of our card front. And you're going to want it to look like a little Z when you're done. And if you have that, we are halfway there, guys. I also forgot to add this little finishing piece to the bottom of the Over the Rainbow die, and it does, you don't need it, but I love how it adds that finishing look with the stitching along the corners, so definitely wanted to add that. And next we're going to add foam tape all around. I cut my foam tape into a tiny strip along the edge, and you definitely want to include a tiny strip on the bottom too, and then as much foam tape as you want on the sides. This die can be used on the left, right, center of the card. It doesn't matter, whatever works for your card design. Just make sure you have foam tape on all three sides and that it doesn't touch the tab, so it doesn't hold it. You definitely don't want to hold it. That would defeat the whole purpose. And look at this. I'm using the really rainbow paper so that when you pull up the rainbow, it's a reverse rainbow, guys. Alert, it's a reverse rainbow. I love how it's like a gray sky and you pull up the rainbow die and it's actually the rainbow underneath. I think that's so fun. And I enjoyed making that fun little reverse rainbow. Next, I'm just attaching the hillside to the front of my card. Definitely make sure you are adding foam tape so that it gives the rainbow mechanism room to open and close, but you do not want to add any adhesive on the rainbow, of course, because once you do, it's not going to go anywhere, and we want this to go somewhere. So I am removing all the release paper. There's no adhesive where it will be around the rainbow, and I'm just going to test it to make sure. And yep, peek, 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 there's a little rainbow. And while that's going to set aside to dry and kind of finalize, I am heat embossing part of the sentiment from Silly Goose, Rain or Shine, and it says indeed rain or shine. Nope, no surprises there, guys. And I'm just heat embossing it in white onto black licorice cardstock, and then I'm going to trim it into a little banner, which I'm going to pop up with foam tape. Everything else for this card will be attached directly to the card. It's got a lot of dimension already with the 2 layers of foam in some areas, so everything else is glued directly down. And this is basically what it's going to look like. I had to lay it all out so I could figure out, how I wanted it to look, because I'm a visual person, and then moving along the pieces all over the card is kind of the best part for me. I decided to stick this little goose into the upside down umbrella, like he was splashing around inside the umbrella, and I think that's adorable. So fun. I used an X-Acto knife to cut along the inside line of the umbrella and stuck the goose right inside. And then I'm just going to add some splashes all around the umbrella and goose. This guy right here, I'm going to attach him directly to the rainbow arch that's not a rainbow, so that he lifts up. It kind of looks like he's blocking the rain for the rainbow underneath, right? Yep, for my reverse rainbow. You guys got it. I think it's so fun. I couldn't resist adding splashes everywhere. I love the pop of color. Inside, I didn't know if I wanted these little baby geese, if I wanted water, if I wanted to use this goose with the rain boots so bad, but I didn't get to. So he will have to be saved for another card. And in the meantime, I'm just going to attach these geese to the inside rainbow. And one more little splash of water added to the bottom by the little rainbow. This is crazy. Umbrella goose. I can't believe I called the umbrella a rainbow when I was coloring it, and now I'm calling the umbrella a rainbow when I'm talking about it. This is crazy. I'm stamping the sentiment from Rainbow Sentiments on the pull tab when it pulls up to finish off the sentiment. And then I'm just going to attach this whole thing to my card base, and it will leave a little bit of a white border all around, which is perfect to frame this fun little scene. And that's the card. It's so fun. I love the pop of rainbow that it reveals underneath the cloudy sky. I love the twinkle of the rain that's falling and how it just opens and closes. It's so fun and so sweet. Thanks so much for joining me, and be sure to check this card out up on the Lawnfawn blog, and have a great day. Bye!